Okay, so this is a great example of taste and finesse and tone and just taking your time, even on a fast tempo. This clocks in at about 2:05, just in case you were wondering. So as we saw with the earlier licks, this just starts off with a great opening statement, borrowed right from Charlie Christian and a lot of classic blues, that whole. And even at a faster tempo, it works. That's a great opening statement, and we explored that in depth earlier. For the turnaround, just moving down a few bars in this, leading up to the C minor 7 and measure 9, we've got another one of those turnarounds down here in third position. That's very similar to the lick that we saw earlier, and a lot of in playing a B-flat blues, especially at this tempo, he would play a lot of turnarounds based on those ideas, classic bebop turnarounds. But it seemed like he would get himself in the same area of the fretboard a lot of the times and just basically play variations on that one theme. So all that to say that between the earlier lick and this lick in the Etude, that you can really get a lot of mileage, cover a lot of ground with the same basic idea by just tweaking it ever so slightly. Put a little variation on there, add a different note, go in a different direction. All of those things will, you'll get some more mileage with this idea. Okay, he kicks off the second chorus with our earlier lick, that whole, leading up to the 6. The chromatic walk down, the F7 altered, and then finally the 2-5-4. And then he seamlessly moves right into our cascading blues lick that we saw. And then he finishes off that chorus with a little turnaround. And then for the third chorus, he just goes right into a straight up blues scale. And this is so, classic Grant Green. After doing all of this bebop and playing flat nines and all these beautiful extensions, he just takes it home with something like this. And, very few jazz guitar players would play like that, even on a blues. They wouldn't play like that. And I'm not sure why, but it's absolutely at home in this style, as you can hear. So I just love how he starts off his third chorus with just a total blues approach. And then he goes down the blues scale. Then this is really cool. Right after that, he immediately goes into a highly chromatic bebop lick by approaching the 4 chord, E flat 7, by leading up into the root, B flat, and then just going right down almost an entirely chromatic scale. And what's important is he lands right on a chord tone of E flat 7, right on beat 1. So he has everything timed out perfectly, So leading into that, it's... And that's a classic bebop turn from the 5 to the 3. Instead of just going 5-3, he's going 5-4, and then, and that was a common melody, right? Like Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me, Honeysuckle Rose, all those kinds of turnarounds were very common in this era of jazz. So that's a really cool chromatic bebop turnaround that you can use to get to the 4 chord. And then finally, he does this really nice chromatic move harmonically, starting on the second bar of the 4. Instead of going to a sharp 4 diminished or somewhere else, he makes that 4 chord, the E flat minor, and then goes down in half steps. D minor, then D flat minor, and then ultimately landing on the 2 chord, the C minor 7, in bar 9 of the form. So check out how he gets there. After the E flat 7, right? That's the Do Nothing Till You Hear From Me phrase, and it's ending on the natural 3. And then he goes right into a minor lick. And then he goes right down a half step to D minor. And then takes that same exact thing and replicates it down a half step. And as we saw earlier with Wes and Kenny, they would repeat an idea twice, but then move on to something different. And that's what he does here. He's basically playing the same basic line over C minor, but he's adding a little rhythm to it. So he's phrasing it like, playing all offbeats there, which is something I'm sure that he got from Charlie Christian, because when you listen to Charlie Christian's earlier bop, transitional to bop recordings, he would do that all the time. It really grabs your ear and creates a lot of excitement. And that's exactly how Grant finishes out this chorus, all on the offbeats. And then finally, doesn't leave you hanging, but he brings it home and just gives you a nice, solid, ending with a doing 2 solid quarter notes on the tonic to end off the chorus.